Hi guys, the name is Mark, and just gonna do one last quick little video for the day, and I guess we'll call this From the Heart. I did a few videos where I called them or labeled them War of Words because people are at war with each other. Like even families are at war with each other, and they haven't got the foggiest clue of why they're arguing with each other, and they're being pitted against each other because if you don't vote for this guy, well then I don't like you, and if you don't vote for that guy, well then I don't like you. And so the powers that be, you, this is all straight out of Sun Tzu. It's a 66-page booklet. You can download the PDF for free, and especially when you start coming to the end of it, one of the ways that they use this war against you and this war of words against you is through the government, because like the government draws up all these laws and they'll tell you what not to do, and they know that people will break them. Like they'll say don't steal or else we'll call you a criminal, but then they force people into poverty and then force them into a position to steal, or they will deal drugs, or so they're always looking for ways around things to make money. And so, in all essence, this society that we live in, the government tells you not to do something, and effectively it creates more criminals. It's like road rage. I saw that on TV. I had never heard of road rage. I had never experienced road rage with anybody. I never knew what it was. And then I was watching it on TV and I went, oh no, now because they put it on TV, it's going to become, even though they tell you not to fly into a road rage or go into a road rage, now everybody's going to see this and they're just going to think, well, if he can go into a road rage, I can go into a road rage. And everything is an act of war, right? Even like people need somebody to hate, and that's why all these movies and stuff have people that you don't like, because people like to hate people, right? Like even the WWF, you'd have Macho Man Savage, Savage, Age of the Savage, right? Macho Man Savage, and you want a war, Hogan? Is that what you want? Ooh, yeah, you know? And so you can see that there's a war of words here, right? And everybody needs somebody to hate. It's almost comical in my world, but it's not so funny because look around and but I guess you gotta have a laugh at something in some strange way, otherwise you go crazy, right? And so we live in a whole world full of escapism where, like, you're tired after work and you're tired of dealing with all these miserable people, and all you want to do is come home and smoke a joint and escape the bullshit of the day. And then you're throwing on like a movie to watch or something from Hollywood, which Hollywood was the treat used for witchcraft, right? So you have a witchycraft going on. You take the W out of witch and you have itch, so you have an itchcraft. You got an itch to watch this witchcraft, right? So, like I say, people are running around and they're using words and they're doing all these kinds of things. And we live in the me society, and you look around and they're trying to remove God from the equation, and they will tell you like you're a god. And I'm sorry, people, we're not gods, and nothing is yours. And what do we create? We can't create anything out of something that already hasn't been put in place for us to collect those materials and recreate something. But we are actually never really creating anything. We can recreate things with the stuff that we've been given. Like I could build a house out of the rocks that I've been given, but like, did I create anything? No, I recreated. I grabbed a pile of rocks and built a house. So effectively, like, us as humans, or let's call us men or women, right? Um, we 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 kind of have to understand here. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit here, but we have to understand that we like. Did I ever create a blade of grass? Did I ever create a rose that grew in a garden? Did I create the birds that fly? Obviously not. And we also live in a society where they'll tell you, well, the Big Bang Theory, and out of nothing, boom, came everything, right? So effectively, what you're telling me is we have a junkyard full of airplanes, okay? And this is this other guy's analogy that I watched one day, and he told it like this. He's like, so let me get this straight. Basically, you're telling me that we have a junk field full of old airplanes, that were dilapidated in the whole 9 yards. They were all in pieces and they were rusted in the whole 9 yards, or cars. And all of a sudden, this great big bang wind theory tunnel story came along, and all of a sudden now we have a beautiful golden Boeing 747 jet out of nowhere, right? Just magically blew everything, and bam, there it was, right? So they're trying to remove God out of the situation, and we live in the Aleister Crowley society, where it's do what thou'st will. Well, you shouldn't be doing what thou'st will, because that is not very godlike, right? Now, a lot of people too, like when I do things, I do them from the heart. And people will say, oh, you have a good heart. You're doing it from your heart. But when I do things, this heart of mine isn't my heart. It belongs to the universal cosmic waitress creator that created me. So effectively, my ass is owned by the cosmic universal creator, not by man, okay? And so what we have here is people say, well, you're such a good guy and you're doing things from the heart. But it's not me who does these videos for you and stuff. This is the cosmic energy that flows through me and tells me that the creator gave me a heart so that the creator could use my heart. And because it's the creator's heart, okay? It's the father's heart. You take the F out of father and you have at her. So effectively, it's the father's heart, okay? And I like to do things from the heart because I don't even think about it. It's like a hero. A kid could be drowning and there could be alligators in the water and stuff, and some guy or woman will jump in and rescue the child from getting eaten from the alligators and drowning. And people will say, well, you're a hero, and they'll try to shower this person with all kinds of praise and stuff, but the person doesn't realize, nor does the person who saved that child think that he or she is a hero, okay? They didn't spend an ounce of time thinking about it. They were hit with a moment of grace, right? And it was the divine in them, and I don't mean die on the vine, I'm divinity in normal terms. And it was the divinity where something just clicked and they said, oh my God, I better jump in that water and rescue that child, even though there were alligators and sharks and the whole nine thing. And this is almost like an analogy of life. We have alligators and sharks in the swamp of life, okay? And you also heard like Trump saying we're going to drain the swamp. Well, he's draining you, which are, basically you, which is considered to be the swamp of all your resources, right? So yes, he drained the swamp, all right. But getting back to the heart analogy, so the person who rescued this child and got him away from the sharks and the alligators and in the water and stuff and saved the child from drowning, they did it from the grace of the universe. Did they spend time thinking about, well, if I jump in the water, what if it's too cold? What if, what if I lose an arm trying to save this child? No, they didn't think about anything, okay? They weren't thin kings. They were as king because they weren't thinking, okay? They just instinctively, something said, man, go get that kid. And they will dive in and risk their lives to save this child, right? And this is what, instead of doing what thou'st will or wills, like Aleister Crowley and this whole generation that's being brought up with the me society, right? It's not supposed to be about you. It's supposed to be about everybody, okay? And so then we live in a world where everybody's back to a war of words with each other. Well, I don't like you because you like Trump, and the Trump supporters don't like you because you like Biden. And so now there's a war of words, there's a clash of personalities, a clash of titans, and we have a war of words. And everybody's of the mind as to what they like and what they hate, okay? So when I do things, I'm kind of like the guy jumping in the water to save the child because I'm looking at the bigger picture and I'm not putting much thought into it. Like when I do these videos, I don't scramble around in my mind like what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it and stuff. It's like these aren't even my words that come out of my face. They're like they belong to the universal creator and they just flow. So when I have these speeches with you and stuff, I do it from the heart, and people will say, well, you do it from your heart, but technically it's not my heart. It's the universal cosmic waitress's heart. And when you're in tune, you're not thinking about how you're going to present stuff. And like, you even look at YouTube and I see all these videos where they're trying to entertain you and everything is so magically edited and stuff. And this is a false reality. It's called a facade or a persona, and you were never supposed to personify everything or anything for that matter. The only thing you're supposed to worship, and I don't mean worship, I mean it in general terms, is the creator. Like all these people pay they pay allegiance to a flag. Why would you pay allegiance to a piece of cotton or a piece of fabric? You're supposed to pledge allegiance to God. Okay, so getting back to the hero, he does it from the heart, which is of the universal cosmic creative mind, not the kind of man, because mankind's thinking would be, well, I'm not jumping in the water to save that child. I might get my arm and legs taken off by that alligator and die. Is where the universal cosmic creator, when things are done from the heart, it's not done from the mind, and they just see the child going under in the water, man, and they jump over the edge, off the ledge to go get the child. They don't think, and then they'll come out and everybody's, oh, you're a hero and stuff like that. And like it's these people don't even see themselves as heroes because they're not heroes and they're not thinking about things. They just know the difference between right and wrong. Wrong is we can let the child drown, or right is being logical, we can save the children. So from the heart is logical. It's not all emotional cat shit crazy and stuff. We were supposed to remain like Spock on Star Trek, where it's either logical or illogical, right? So if I was thinking in terms of illogical, ill and logical, that's not a healthy logical mind. That's an illogical mind. And the illogical mind is, well, if I jump in and now it's about me and am I going to get attacked and will I come out all right? And so everything becomes about me in the me society, is where these people with a heart, it's not about them, okay? And it's, I live in a world where everybody wants and wants and wants, but nobody, like a lot of people in general, don't just generally want to help people. I live in a world where I might pay the ultimate price for it, which could be death down the road. But I've accepted this because I'm not in the mind of the mind, which is inward thinking, in war, just add a D, inward thinking, and then that might become awkward. You're back to awk war, right? And so everything is a war, and that's why they're called war kings, and everybody's trying to run around at war with each other by working. And the only difference between working and working is an A or an O. This is the only separational difference between the two. So I just want to share this with you people. You can live by the heart, which is of no mind. It won't think about, well, if I jump in that water, I might get attacked and swallowed up by all those alligators. It just does. It flies, right? It knows no thinking. It just does what's right. And this comes from the universal heart. So, like, even myself, when I speak to you guys, like, I'm not possessed by some alien spirit or anything like this, or possessed by demon-IC spirits, right? I am not demonstrating. I am not a demonstrator. What flows through me half the time, I don't even know where it comes from. It just flows. It's like when you're meditating and all of a sudden, it's like when your mind is quiet, all shall be known, okay? All cannot be known when you live in like a noisy environment where everything is noise and white noise and television sets and lawnmowers and all this stuff, right? And maybe you live in Illinois, right? Just look at the words, Illinois. You want to live in Illinois, maybe you want to live in Missouri, Connecticut, Connect, I cut, right? You want to live in Hellas, Spain, Washington, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. This is called brainwashing, okay, people? So when you're of the heart, you're not of the mind, And you will literally, you realize that life is not about you. You start realizing that life is about the bigger picture. Like he who plants a tree, knowing that you might be dead by the time that tree is 50 feet tall or 100 feet tall and provide shade, but you know that by planting that tree, now you're thinking about future generations, and that tree has been planted so that your children may have shade, your children may have fruit that will fall off that tree when it's ripe, right? So you can see where I'm going with this. So I I guess I just wanted to share this with you people. So I'm going to leave it at that. You can be of the heart, which is of no mind. It just flows. And where attention goes, energy flows. And when you're not being so attentive on the details and all this stupid stuff, you're free, right? And unfortunately, we live in a world where everything's outside of yourself. Am I going to make enough money? Am I going to have enough food to eat? Everything is worry, worry, worry. It's fear based. You take the F out of fear and you have ear. So everybody's listening with their ears and they're basing fear off what they're hearing off their television sets. Like, oh my God, there's a war overseas. The Russians are going to press a nuke. I have news for you people, and I hate to burst your sorry bubble. There ain't nukes. The people who tried to devise these nukes, they could never get the uranium mixture right, the whole 9 yards, plutonium, whatever they were working with. And a few of them even said it was almost like the universal God would not allow nuclear weapons to be built, and they just simply couldn't do it. But and then people say, well, Japan was bombed, and but that was an atomic bomb, and you can also thank Albert Einstein for that, right? Another Ashkenazi, right? So anyhow, I just wanted to share this stuff with you that it's all fear based. And when you're of the heart, you're not of the fear. Like all these people, like, well, doesn't that make you mad what you see on TV? No, because then if I get mad, what am I getting mad at? Something that I can't change. So why get mad at something that I can't change? Why not do something about what I can change and not get mad? Wouldn't that be logical? Instead of getting all crazy emotional, going, well, I feel helpless, and now you're helpless and you can't do anything. And and even people, they'll say, well, you got to vote for somebody. Well, we voted for the lesser of two evils, so now you're voting for evil. If you were to take a step back and look at that, wouldn't you say, my God, that is so stupid? So again, you're being logical or illogical, and really logical is not of the mind, which is of fear. The mind is always, it wants a bigger house, it wants $1 million. Look at million, take the M out and you have ill. So you want to be ill eye on in the air, right? It's all a fiction of eye imagination, which is voodoo, forecasting spells, black magic, necromancers, you name it. I list this stuff. And so we live in a war of words, and all I can suggest people is stop arguing with everybody, even if 1 + 1 is 2 and somebody says it's 3. Who cares? They will soon learn the error of their ways as time goes on. It's not for us to play God and try to infer and instill, take the ins out of still, and you have in ill in other people. It is not our job to instill anything or impose our wills upon people. And you have to realize that when things come from the heart, it's just natural. The guy or girl jumping into the water to save the child from the alligators is not thinking about him or herself. And this is what love is. Love is not, when you love me, I'll feel loved and stuff. And like the term, people are looking for their better half. What are you telling me? That God created idiots and you're only a half a person? You need another half to better yourself? This whole thing is preposterous. That's like saying the universal creator is just a fuck up and I've never done anything right? We don't even trust the instinctual, natural spirit of the creator, which is of love and which is of creation and stuff. It's not of death and stuff, and it's not of the mind. It's just a universal force and energy, and it flows. That's it. That's all. So people, please come out of the spell, come out of the mind, and when you think with your heart, the heart just instinctively knows. The heart knows, oh, I better save that child, or the neighbor's house is up in flames. Maybe I'll go run over and try to put it out. I'll grab their garden hose. This is of the heart, not of the mind, right? And they'll call it being of the mind, they'll call it common sense, but like common sense is like a superpower anymore. And really, nobody has it. Nobody has it. And they're just all running around like idiots. And it's the me society, and everything is based on greed. And I need the bigger house, and I need 5,000 pieces of steak in my freezer so that, basically the more money I have, the less money my neighbor has. Am I helping my neighbor? Right? So I got $30 trillion, but meanwhile, a country in Africa is going poor and starving and stuff. And, mankind will also, like these world powers and stuff, they'll try to make you, like, believe, like, oh, the world's overpopulated and that. Drive from state to state and in between city to city, and there are nothing but miles and miles of unused land. But you can't use that land because the government says that you have to buy that land, which is fraud upon the creator, because the creator, the universal creator, gave us land, right? We have dominion over it, and then people run around going, well, I own this and I own that, and it creates a poverty-based society by me owning $30 trillion, and meanwhile some poor woman with children is having a hard time feeding her baby, and she's not eating because what little she has left, she's giving it to the child. And at least that comes from the heart. But all this greed and stuff, like I need 30 million chickens in my freezer and you don't have one and I can't share with you. See, the normal thing would be to share from the heart. And it wouldn't be going, oh, I feel good because I'm sharing things. And like I do these videos and I don't feel good afterwards. I don't feel bad afterwards. I don't feel good because like maybe somebody says, hey, thanks, man. That's a wonderful video and great job and stuff. I do these videos because they just naturally flow out of me. I don't think about them. I'm not even thinking about what I'm telling you people right now. This is how energy flows. It's like when I'm out in the garden. I'm not going, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. No, I'm watching things and I might go, hey, those plants look like they're wilting. They need more water. And I just allow things to tell me what they need. I'm not walking around trying to dictate going, well, you just better grow, right? So like even all these people, like you think like if you're going to become a new member to a political government party and stuff, that you're going to make change in Satan's world. Sorry, but you're not going to make a change in Satan's world. You'll wind up becoming like Satan. It's no different than Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars, where he didn't like the dark side, and so then what happened? He became part of the dark side, right? And clearly there is a dark cloud over humanity, and people can't see this. Like when I used to work up north, when I was out west around Jasper and stuff, the minute you would start coming into the city, you could feel a tense, thick, dark energy. And, I'm literally out in the boondocks, and the minute I start driving in the city, you could feel a dark cloud of fear and hate and anger and aggression and all that stuff just through the energy, man. And, and so we don't need this shit, right? So come out of the spell. Try to think with the heart, which is not your heart, it's God's heart, and God would just use you as the vehicle to do what's naturally right, okay? And I don't mean right by man, I mean naturally what's beneficial to the universe, like planting a tree that you'll never sit under, or get a fruit off of, but your children and their children and their children's futures will now have shade and fruit that this tree provides, okay, people? So I just wanted to share that with you. Nothing is ours, so please stop running around claiming that anything is yours. And when you realize that nothing is yours, and it's not saying that, you can't own things or shouldn't own things, but nothing should own you. That's why they're called possessions, possess ions. You should not be possessed. That is of the dark side, okay, people? So I'm going to leave it at that. I just wanted to espouse and share some love, peace. I hope these videos find you well. I know we live in shit crazy times, but I'm not going to dwell on the negative, right? And I'm just going to fly neutral, and I'm going to be logical. So once again, I send everybody much peace, love, respect, always. Till then, keep your heads up, your sticks on the ice. Namaste, cheers, peace, goodbye, and God bless. Always cheers. Bye.